General Gerasimov was Chief of General Staff of the Army between October 2022 and March 2023 when the events in this warrant took place. They concern a large number of missile strikes against numerous electrical power plants and substations in multiple locations in Ukraine in that time period. And the court says these allegations are supported by evidence and therefore issued these warrants. Now, these two men are seen as architects of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, of course, but they're keen to focus on very specific events. The war crimes charge relates to the electrical facilities being civilian objects and says that even if they were military objectives, that the foreseeable harm to civilians was disproportionate of these attacks. The crimes against humanity charge is that the strikes were part of an attack on the civilian population, which intentionally caused great suffering or serious injury to the body or mental or physical health of people in Ukraine. Now, of course, electrical installations, you can think about how that will have impacted hospitals or left people in the cold in winter as well. Now, Russia has said that it doesn't recognize these arrest warrants. It also doesn't recognize the court's jurisdiction, of course, and it has denied repeatedly that war crimes have been happening in Ukraine. That means that it's unlikely that these men will be arrested. That, of course, that means they can't travel anymore to the 124 countries that have ratified the Rome Statute, which has founded this court. And so they will not be able to travel to any of these countries anymore following these arrest warrants.
All right. Well, this is not the first time that the ICC has filed charges over the Kremlin's war in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin himself, of course, currently under ICC indictment. Can you put this in context for us? How similar is it to earlier charges?
Well, yeah. So the International Criminal Court, of course, being extremely active on the Ukrainian front right off the bat on the 2nd of March, so just a few days after this invasion started in 2022, they gained jurisdiction over the events in Ukraine. Now, that's special because Ukraine isn't actually a member of the court. They invited the court in to look at violations happening in their territory after 2014, actually, the annexation of Crimea. And Karim Khan, the special prosecutor of the ICC, has been in Ukraine on the ground to look into crimes. Of course, last year we had that arrest warrant that you just mentioned against Vladimir Putin, as well as his Commissioner for Children's Rights. That looks specifically at the unlawful deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia. And in March of this year, actually, the ICC issued an arrest warrant against a Russian Navy admiral and a commander of the Air Force for the same crimes that we're seeing indictments, arrest warrants being issued for today. Also, those attacks against electrical installations. So it seems that they have enough evidence that they think that those charges will stick on that front. And it seems that there's now sufficient evidence that Shoigu and General Gerasimov share responsibility for those attacks, or either by ordering them or that they failed to prevent them. That is also a part of the war crimes. Now, the content of the arrest warrant is secret to protect witnesses, but they say that they've issued this publicly because they hope that it will prevent further war crimes being committed in this conflict in Ukraine.